It's time for the Voice of Indie. Your hosts today are Beem Weeks, author and producer for Fresh Ink Group, and Stephen Gies, author, producer, composer, and publisher for Fresh Ink Group.
And greetings, and welcome to another episode of the Voice of Indie podcast, the video version. This is episode number 236. I am your host, Beem Weeks, and my co-host here, Mr. Gies. How you doing tonight with the Genesis shirt on?
Hey, I'm doing all right in the Fresh Ink Group hat because we're shamelessly promoting here.
Woohoo!
Yeah, this Genesis shirt. We've got some memories with this one, don't we, Beam?
Yeah, saw that tour in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena back in, was it 23?
3 years ago, 3 years and a couple of months. And this I know because it was the day after a guy ran a red light and creamed me and fractured my hands in 12 places.
Wow.
12 places, 5 in this hand, and my hand's still messed up, and 7 in this hand. And that wasn't going to stop me from seeing Genesis, was it, Beam?
No, we got it done. Good show, excellent show. Yeah, I want to mention last week I kind of dropped out about halfway through. Here was the situation: my Wi-Fi modem died, and so I was going live with the Wi-Fi hotspot on my phone. What I didn't know was that they only give you 5 gigabytes. And so I was using that all day thinking that, hey, it's unlimited. And it wasn't. So halfway through the show, I got this message from AT&T saying your gigabytes are gone. So they're going to slow it way down. And it slowed it so far down, it wasn't able to power the show. But what I thought about after the fact was I could have logged in on my phone and done the show from the phone. I didn't even think about it.
But I had fun learning where all the buttons are in the new studio with this system that we have just started using. So, hey, we got it done.
All right. So if you're just now tuning in for the first time, and if you're tuning in on, say, YouTube, we are on YouTube. We are on, we'll put this right here. We are on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Twitter, and one of these days I will figure out how to get the Instagram link up because they have a special number key to use for that. So I have to get in there and fiddle around with that. But we will be on Instagram eventually, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. And there you go.
All right, so we got a placard for posting your comments. We'd like people to participate. In the old show, we had people calling in, and we can't do that in this format, but you can post your comments from the various social media and show them right on the screen, which is real cool.
Yeah, this is where you can post your comments, and this is where you can see us. So There you go.
All right, we've got our latest book that we published is Matt's Murder. It was our 24th book in 2024, except it was actually like January 2nd. That we got it out, but we're calling it 2024. So 24 books in 2024. And Matt's Murder is by Patricia A. Guthrie, who we're looking forward to having back on this new format show sometime in the near future here. But it's a kind of a murder mystery thriller from an author.
Yeah.
3 other books by her, a short story collection and 2 other novels as well, Legacy of Danger.
Working on another one too.
Yeah, and she's working, we're getting ready to put out probably about a month from now her next one too, which is 5 books from her. So yeah, Matt's Murder by Patricia A. Guthrie is out now. And we're going to show the trailer for that here. We can go ahead and show it now, I guess, Beam. I don't see any reason why not.
All righty. This is where we will grab this video.
The body of Matt Carter lies in the stable, his head bashed, longish blonde hair splayed in a pool of blood. A lone horse stands guard over the victim, witness to a brutal murder, but unable to help solve the crime. Several suspects stand out, a number that grows as the investigation goes deep. 2 more murders appear to be linked. Chief Phil Swanson must unravel this complex mystery, rife with drug smuggling, a scandalous family secret, and betrayal at its worst. What criminal enterprise caught Matt in its web, and what did the horse see? Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Matt's Murder by Patricia A. Guthrie is a thriller with surprises at every turn. Gosh, if horses could only talk.
right.
I like how the horse looks in the camera at the end of that.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, so we do have some comments here. Here's, speaking of Pat Guthrie, there she is. Hi,
hi, Pat.
Patricia. And then she says, ouch. I don't know what the ouch is for. And here we got Robert Willis-Croft says, and he's not mirror image this time.
Figuring this stuff out, Robert.
We got Verwayne Greenhouse saying, good evening, my friends.
Hi, Verwayne.
And Verwayne also says, looking good. And Patricia, she says she loves this trailer. Well,
cool.
We are glad to hear that. That's always a good thing to hear from the authors.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but Fresh Ink Group makes pretty cool trailers for every book we publish. Every book. And I don't know anybody else is doing that. So go Fresh Ink Group.
Oh, the ouch. I know what the ouch was when you were talking about the hand fractures. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
That one's
okay. Now also out now is Keed, A Lost Civilization, the Fourth Orc Chronicle. It is out in audiobook. And this was a lot of fun to put together, and it's a fantastic process that we do this, and it's with music and sound effects. So it's not just somebody reading the story. You're getting pulled into the story, and this is by Robert G. Willis-Croft. So get over to Amazon and grab a copy. And if you get the audiobook, you'll get a free companion PDF so you can read along with that.
Yeah.
We have a newsletter, and we'd like to have you subscribe to it if you're not already subscribed. This is real easy how to do it. Just go over to the freshinggroup.com, find the newsletters, sign up, and we will make sure it's in your email inbox every Wednesday. This newsletter, we put stuff in there about the guests each week that's going to be on here for that particular night. And we also put in books that are coming out, awards that our authors have won, awards that our author friends that we don't even publish their book, but they're friends. So we promote their books and we promote their awards and whatnot. And so get over there and subscribe. We've also got a YouTube channel that we are really trying to build up. And we're going to be pushing this because this is where we are doing the bulk of our viewers are watching through YouTube now. So it would be nice to be able to have a bigger base. And hey, you can be part of it. Help us build this up by going over there and subscribing to the YouTube channel. And we got this book here, Trains of Alabama by Braden Dexter Green. That is out now in hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, this what you're looking at here is like a business card we made up for Braden because he's going to events like railroad or model conventions and things like that. And this way he can hand this out. And he's getting a lot of attention. I took him out this past weekend to shoot trains in Irondale, Alabama. And there were a bunch of people out there who'd come out to see the trains because it's where the Norfolk Southern Yard is. And if you go out there for 15 minutes, you will see a train right in front of you because they're constantly in and out. So we walk around and meet people, and he gives them these cards, and they pull out their phones and order from Amazon right there on the spot. So that's pretty cool. But Braden's working on some civic improvement projects. He's trying to get together the funding to purchase a heritage locomotive and have it moved from Texas to Alabama to be next to the new train depot, which is going back into service as a museum here in Guntersville, Alabama, starting this week. And they're having a big dedication ceremony with the mayor and all that on Thursday. And they invited Braden to come. He just turned 15, so I got to pull him out of school and bring him down here to attend that thing. But he's been having a lot of fun. And I want to tell you, people, we've published a few books by teenagers like Ellie Collins. And
she wasn't even a teenager when we published her first book. She was a preteen.
Yeah. But these, if you know teenagers who are, writing things or doing artwork or whatever, talk to us because it's not that hard to get them out there. And boy, you talk about impressing on a college application, for example. It's like, did you join the chess club or the debate team? Oh, I just published a series of books and make appearances around the country.
There you go.
Okay. So anyway, I wanted to show you Braden's new business card and just give him another little plug for Trains of Alabama. He's working on his second.
And he's got a YouTube channel, Braden Dexter Green Photography, over on YouTube.
Put the card up again.
get over there and take a look at that. He's got a blog, and that is Arriving on Track. What is that? What is his blog?
Arriving on Track 1.
Yeah, okay.
It's a WordPress blog.
Email him. I believe it's BradenDexterGreen@gmail.
Yeah.
Okay, so get over there and check out the YouTube channel. Check out his blog. He's a smart kid, and he's doing some really cool stuff. So we encourage these younger kids to do stuff like this. Be creative. Get out there and find out where's your niche at.
Yeah, maybe they'll become influencers and help us find some audiences too.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, so it's time for. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, if we could do more roll-ins, we'd do a little animated opening for this, which we might wind up doing eventually anyway. But let's look at the top 25 print bestsellers from Fresh Ink Group.
All
Starting in number 25, How to Paint an American, which I believe was in the number 25 slot last week as well. And then above that, Princess Lil by Nell Cooper. Nell just put out her first novel aimed at adults, which is called Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow. And I got a feeling we're going to see it on this list here. Princess Lil was one of the first books we published from Fresh Ink Group back when Ann Stewart was managing things for us. Princess Lil is a chapter book aimed at little girls about a pony that's being bullied. So it's nice to see that Nell Cooper's out promoting her Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow, and people are noticing her Princess Lil book as well. So more than 2 decades later, it's now back on our list again. A.K. Wingler's How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Florida. And above that, How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Tennessee. She's also got one for Georgia. Anybody interested in food truck business, get out there and check these books out, because
she tells you how to do it.
She tells you everything. And about 80 to 90% of it applies anywhere, any part of the U.S. or even around the world as well. It's just that these are specifically aimed at these states because they also include the forms and the addresses of where you go for licensing and stuff like that, specific to those states. But hey, food truck anywhere, check her books out. Likewise, I hear that people drive all over the place. And Kenneth Lindquist's How to Teach Driving Parents Edition is next on our list in the number 21 slot. He's also got an instructor's edition for people who want to get certified, meeting the standards of their various states or whatever's going on around the world as well. So check those out. How to Teach Driving Parents Edition is on our list, and there's also an instructor's edition. All right, moving up to number 20. There it is, the instructor's edition. Boy, if I could just make things go off the shelves every time I mention them, that'd be cool, huh? And then above that, How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Florida. So look at that, it jumped ahead of me. But then we've got Gwendolyn M. Plano's memoir, Letting Go Into Perfect Love, Discovering the Extraordinary After Abuse. And the one on top there is her hardcover. So she's selling slightly more hardcovers than soft covers, but her numbers are pretty well even on it. And then who's that guy up there, Beem?
That'd be Mark Herndon, former drummer. He played drums for the country music supergroup Alabama for 28 years. Tells some great tales.
Oh, yeah. Cool book. All right. Moving up, we've got American Agony, The Opioid War Against Patients in Pain by Dr. Helen Burrell. Now, before the show, we were kind of looking through YouTube at a lot of our trailers and what kind of numbers they're getting, how many likes they're getting, whatnot. American Agony was up there. The High Road Memories from a Long Trip by Mark Herndon was like 2,800 views or something like that. American Agony is, I believe, 1,800 views of that trailer and 92 comments. So keep it going, Dr. Helen. American Agony, The Opioid War Against Patients in Pain. Now, Robert G. Willis Croft. He's our sci-fi master, and he's our Cold War submarine thriller master. Plus, he's got other books, too, and I'm sure he can sing and dance, and there's no telling what else. Operation Ivy Bells, a Mac McDowell mission, is the first in the Mac McDowell mission series. And we've got six books in that series now. 5 of them are out. Number 6 is in the pipeline and getting ready to make its debut here pretty soon. So check those out. Operation Ivy Bells, a Mac McDowell mission. And tonight we're going to world premiere the new trailer for the Mac McDowell mission series.
I think it's a movie. It's 4.5 minutes long.
Yeah, it's a long movie. One. When you're doing a series and you want to talk a little bit about each book, they can get that. Now, I mentioned Ellie Collins earlier. She was 11 when she wrote Daisy Bold and Beautiful. And this is a chapter book. It's a novel aimed at teenagers. And she followed that up with a second and a third book. Second one when she was 12, third one she wrote when she was 13. Now she's a grown up, and she's into archery, and she's in a top 10, I believe, the top 5 ranked archery
in the country.
people in the country. So follow your dreams, Ellie. We're always proud of anything that you do. Now there's Mark Herndon again, The High Road: Memories from a Long Trip, and this is the hardcover edition. And I'd like to mention that if you're really into Alabama, Mark Herndon, country music, cool books, memoirs, or just people who wear shades on the covers of their books, you can go over to markherndon.com and order one directly from Mark and his wife, country singer Leah Seawright. And Mark will inscribe it and sign it for you. So if you know somebody who's a big Alabama or Mark Herndon fan, you're looking for a birthday present, how about Happy Birthday from Mark Herndon himself in a memoir? That'd be a cool little gift. All right, now who's this guy up on top, Beem?
That's David Carroll, who will be on the show here in a couple of weeks as well.
2 weeks, I think.
He's the NBC anchor for the Chattanooga market. So he's got some funny stuff in this book. This is a book on social media blunders, misspelled words and things that misplaced, or commas that are missing, which completely change what the person meant to say. Some funny stuff.
Yeah. Ooh, As We Remember, A History of the Women's Relief Corps in Beaufort, South Carolina by Dr. Najma Thomas. That book is full of cool historical pictures. And some of them we edited and cleaned up and colorized in order to make them a little bit more vivid. But that's a very cool book. It's great for Southern history, Eastern history, women's history, military history, and African-American history as well. So congratulations, Najma Thomas. You've earned a bronze star here, which means you are tied for 3rd place in this week's list. And then above that, Trains of Alabama by Braden Dexter Green, Short Lines, Rail Yards, Engines, Heritage Units, Rail Fan Photos, and more. Check that one out. And then above that, David Carroll again. This one's Volunteer Bama Dog, where he takes a look at life in the South, in particular this little area here that encompasses Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. So volunteers, because Tennessee is the Volunteers, Bama's for Alabama, and dog is Georgia Bulldogs. So that's where he got his title from. Check that out, Volunteer Bama Dog, and check out the trailer for it too. It's got some cool stuff in there. And there's Operation Ivy Bells again. This one's the hardcover edition. Right now, the hardcover is outselling the soft, and that's quite an accomplishment for a novel, and quite an accomplishment for a long, fairly expensive, because of how many pages it is in the printing costs, novel. But it's a perpetual appearance on our list. So congratulations, Robert G. Williscroft. Now, Janelle A. Jordan, we've published 2 books by her so far. The first one is Minority Millennials in the Workforce. This one's The Reality of Interpersonal Leadership, and that's not a typo. Real is capitalized on purpose. The Reality of Interpersonal Leadership, a guide to leading authentically. And this is kind of a workbook. Kind of daily lessons and things to try, and a place that you can record things and whatnot. So that's a pretty cool book too. All right, we're into our top 5, and now we've got 3 tied for 2nd place. Journey Through the Lens, Creative Guide to Nature Photography by Angie Birmingham. Man, that woman can take some pictures. She is really cool. I don't know how she gets those animals to pose for her, but they do. They'll put on sunglasses and doff
snacks.
Yeah.
Just bribes them with snacks.
Yeah. But Angie also wrote the introduction for Braden Dexter Green's Trains of Alabama. She actually traveled to Alabama, and we had a meeting and hung out and had lunch, and she got impressed by Braden, and she taught him a bunch of things, showed him some pointers, looked at some of his work, and decided that she was impressed enough to write an introduction for his book. So what a boost for a young man who's just trying to get some things going, to have a veteran like Angie paying attention and affirming that it's worth his effort to do all of these things. I like to see teenagers out just doing stuff and learning things and trying stuff. And Angie is the same way, because Angie teaches groups of teenagers out at her place in Texas. She does workshops, like 4 and 5 day workshops that you can sign up for and travel down there. And she also gets grants to help pay for them, so the teenagers can travel for free, stay for free, and take her class for free, and spend days out in the boat or along the shorelines in the nature preserves, learning wildlife photography from the master. So Journey Through the Lens, tied for number 2. And in the chair, volume 5, Mintaka, On the Lam and On Attack by Robert McKenzie. That's also tied for 2nd place. That's the 5th book in the series. What's this series about?
The series is about a chair.
Yeah.
That's why it's called The Chair. It's
Yeah.
historical fiction, and it traces the journey of a chair through multiple generations. And it's a real unique book, really well written. Robert is a stellar writer. So he's got a famous fan in Kathy Ireland, the supermodel. She posed with a pic while reading this book on an airplane flight. So there you go.
Yeah. Also tied for second place, Mr. President, I've Got Your Back, the First Ladies of South Carolina State University. And that's by Abigail H. Eugenie and Mary L. Smalls, both of whom were former First Ladies at South Carolina State University. So there's also another book by Abigail Eugenie that we published called There Must Be Something in the Water. And that's a historical look at minorities from that area of South Carolina who went on to accomplish great things. So it's a pretty cool book. And then tied for first place, we've got two books, both selling exactly the same number of copies this week. One's by Jerry Pate, who's a retired U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander, and it's called Submariner, 30 Years of Hijinks and Keeping the Fleet Afloat. 60-chapter memoir with just all kinds of fun, funny, cool, and even hair-raising stories. So congratulations, Jerry. After, got to be close to a year now, I think, being out, you are tied for first place in our print bestseller list this week. And then also tied for first, Nell Cooper's Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow. What's this about, Beem?
That is a kind of a different sort of romance type of novel, not a romance like you would, typically think of. This is two kids that grew up in a home for disabled people in Michigan, and as they got older, they kind of fell in love, and they're going to do a surgery on the girl, and she decides to jet up out of there. It's set in the 50s, I believe, if I remember correctly. So she leaves, and the boy decides after he's of age and he moves out on his own, he's going to track her down, and he's going to find her. And I'm not going to tell you whether he did or didn't, and how it ends. Get the book. I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I thought it was an excellent book. I gave it a 5-star review. And if you happen to be looking to replay some of our old episodes from the old audio show, you can find them at these various places. And same with this one here. With this show, we've got these are all over there on YouTube. From the moment that they finish, they're there. Same way with Facebook and some really cool stuff. So, and if you want to contact us, here's how you contact us. And we will get back with you if you have any questions or anything like that. Now we have Jerry Pate is saying September of 2022 is when that book came out.
Wow.
And so that's going, it's been out for a bit. So
and Willis Croft is confirming that. Cool.
Yeah.
That book's going very well. I mean, Mark Herndon's starting to look over his shoulder here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you're reading the bio this week. I see you got me down for it, but I read that last week. So you have that.
Well, let's meet today's guest. It's one of our favorite people, and if I want to drive by her house and throw rocks at it, it's only about a 40-minute drive from where I live. She's in the Huntsville, Alabama area. I'm out here on the lake in Guntersville. A retired educator, B.A. Johnson was inspired to write her first illustrated children's book because she could not find material for children explaining the history of their AME church. She followed Sassy Discovers the AME Church with Sassy Discovers Peter Allen's Secret, with more church history. She followed those with the illustrated chapter book, Pandemonium in Puzzletown, about prejudice and inclusion. B.A. Johnson, I already mentioned, lives in Huntsville, Alabama, and she's on right now. Let's meet Barbara. All right. Hi, Barbara.
Greetings, hi. Barbara. Always good to have you on.
Yeah. Thanks. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Doing well. Let's start off with where are you originally from? And if you're not originally from Huntsville, and how did you get to Huntsville?
Well, I am a native of Huntsville. I've lived here all of my life, enjoyed living here, visited a lot of other places, but always came back home. So I enjoy living in Huntsville. It's a great place to live. The cost of living is pretty good here, and the economy is holding up pretty well. So I have not seen a need to move anywhere else right
Yeah.
now.
Well, Huntsville's just a fun city too, and just in the past few years, you've seen it become the biggest city in Alabama. It's bigger than Birmingham now. And just look at how much it's grown. I mean, they're adding amphitheaters and concert halls and, museums, places to go, things to do and whatnot. So Huntsville's becoming quite the town.
I'm amazed at how it has grown
Mhm.
to a point where if I'm driving around town, it's like, okay, I remember that there was a building over there, but it's not there anymore because things have changed
Yeah.
so quickly here in town. It's grown, it's gotten better. More people are moving in, it's more diverse. So Huntsville is growing quite expeditiously, and I think for the better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the old joke down here, of course, is if you're driving down the road and you see a big pile of dirt tomorrow, it'll be a Dollar General. It's
More
going
than likely.
more than likely, yeah. All right. So, what kind of a kid were you growing up in Huntsville?
Oh, well,
Loudmouth?
I was one of five kids, and just happened to be the middle child. So I could tell my older brother and sister what to do, and really boss the two younger ones around too. So, and I still do that. I still have that ability to kind of boss them around and make the older ones do what I ask them to do, and the two younger ones, they have to do what I ask them to do too. So I'm holding the fort down as being the middle child. Loved school for a while there. Kindergarten, didn't want to have anything to do with kindergarten because I was going to have to go to a different school than my brother and sister who were older. They were the older two. And I just wasn't going for that. So every morning it was a fight, trying to get me out of the car to go into kindergarten. It's like, I'm not going, even though I knew when I got home, my dad was not going to be happy with me. But they finally gave in, and I stayed at home that year. And the next year, I was able to go to the school where my brother and sister were going.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So,
Yeah.
when did you get interested in reading and writing and all of that? Right away, or is that a few years later?
The one book that really caught my interest was Call of the Wild. That was like my first ever chapter book that I read. And just some reason, it just caught my interest. I could visualize the story, and it just took me on an adventure I never would have been able to go on had I stayed in my little house and everything. So it just opened up a world of adventure for me. And I thought, wow, if this is what a story can do, then I need to read more stories like this.
Yeah.
So it was the Call of the Wild that got me interested in reading. And I've been an avid reader ever since. And really, when I got in like high school, you remember the Columbia book club where you could order like 10 books for $1.
Yep.
Loved it.
That.
Loved it.
So, they were cheap books. They didn't even trim the edges of the paper. They just ran them off and sent them out. But hey,
well, that's where I started gathering all of my reading material from the Columbia Book Club, when you could order 10 for $1 and you get all these books to come in. You didn't even have to go to the library. Books would just come to your house.
Yeah, cool.
Now, you just talked about not wanting to go to kindergarten and all that good stuff. And you're a retired educator, so I'm guessing you went to college. Where did you go to college, and what was that experience like?
Well, by the college experience, I had learned the school system, so it was like, okay, I can do this. Went to Alabama A&M University, which is in my hometown of Huntsville, Alabama. Loved being a Bulldog at Alabama A&M, to the point where, yes, I graduated undergraduate, went back to get a master's degree. That wasn't quite enough, so I went back and got certified in administration. So I owe Alabama A&M University everything that I have and have become.
Yeah, that's a fine university too. Their music program I especially like, and I met Carl Wright, who runs things over there, and he conducted one of my grandsons in the all county band in Jefferson County. Got to meet the guy, and he's very impressive. And of course, you were probably there before their time, but the Huguenis were there. Andrew Hugueny was president of Alabama A&M, and his wife, Abigail Hugueny, one of our authors who just published 2 books with us, she was the first lady. And this was after they were at South Carolina State. So, yeah, I'm a fan of Alabama A&M.
Yes, cool. I know them personally.
And a beautiful campus up there, too. Yeah, the Huguenys are cool, aren't they?
Yes, I know them personally.
Yeah, all right. Beem, I'm thinking it's time to roll a trailer here. You want to knock out the long one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this one's Robert G. Williscroft, and get some popcorn and settle back because this is a trailer.
Yeah.
Now, from Fresh Ink Group and best-selling author Robert G. Williscroft, the Mac McDowell Mission Series. With a security clearance above top secret, Saturation Dive Team Officer in Charge Mac McDowell leads his team into critical Cold War counter-Soviet missions. Watch Mac prove what brave men can achieve under real pressure, the kind that will steal your air and crush the life out of you. In Operation Ivy Bells, it's the summer of 1972 when Mac and his off-the-books Deepwater Espionage Group are conducting a daring undersea wiretapping operation to gather Russian intel and avert World War. Join nuclear submariner Mac McDowell for extreme diving, a battle with giant squid, and more as he risks everything in the most dangerous operation yet. In Operation Icebreaker, Mac McDowell is leading his submarine team for a mission to lay SOSUS arrays under the Arctic ice when they clash with a highly automated Alpha-class Soviet submarine. Overwhelmed by mechanical problems, the Soviet crew abandons their sub near Point Barrow, Alaska. The skipper launches DSR V-1 Mystic so Mac and his crew can board the empty sub and gather intelligence. The arrival of an even more advanced Soviet sub leads to breathtaking underwater clashes, with the specter of war looming. Will Mac and his crew be sunk by the Soviets, or will they safely return to Alaska, where Mac's new love, Kate, anxiously waits? In Operation Arctic Sting, Mac McDowell and his team capture the abandoned Soviet sub. Piloting their prize through the ice pack to the U.S. East Coast, they must evade or confront other Soviet subs trying to recover the ship or sink it. Breathtaking deep-sea clashes erupt, including hand-to-hand combat with Soviet Morskoy Spetsnaz divers under the ice. Too far from Toothus to escape, the Americans are accosted by a 5-ton orca. Will Mac's ship survive long enough to reach friendly waters, or will the men become just another meal for a deadly whale? In Operation Whiteout, Mac McDowell's Toothus tangles with Argentine subs in the South Atlantic, then confronts a Chi-Com sub off Thurston Island. Escorting a Taiwanese sub, Toothus is attacked by a Chinese Han-class sub and a North Korean AIP sub. Will Mac complete his mission, or will he meet his watery grave on the Pacific's abyssal plain? In Operation Vela Redux, 10 years after the Israeli-South African Vela incident nuclear test, Mac and his team head for Prince Edward Islands to stop a dangerous new test. Will Mac and the onboard Israeli Shayatet 13 commando unit prevent the escalation of international tensions before they erupt? In Operation Alpha Rogue, Mac retires from active service and meets with President Bush, who issues him a letter of marque to operate the captured Alpha-class sub as a privateer. His first assignment is to address the growing pirate threat in the South China Sea. On his way, Mac retrieves General Grant's lost treasure near Auckland Island, which will finance many of his future exploits. The McDowell Mission series by Robert G. Williscroft is available worldwide in jacketed hardcovers, paperbacks, ebooks, and exclusive audiobooks with music and sound effects. The Mac McDowell Mission Series is proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Take a deep breath and dive in for the thrilling submarine adventures in every Mac McDowell mission.
All right.
Yeah, it keeps freezing on my end because we're putting video signals up and bringing them down, and it's kind of hard to tell when those are over. But
yeah, it ran pretty good. It kind of froze for a second at the beginning on my end, but I got that speedy Wi-Fi now.
Yeah. All right. Our guest today is B.A. Johnson. She's a children's chapter book author. She's got 3 illustrated chapter books out so far, and rumor has it she's working on a couple more. Barbara, tell us about your writing. When did you first get into writing, and what kind of writing were you doing even before you were doing these books?
Oh, I guess I've always been a writer, writing something, if not writing lesson plans, writing minutes for meeting, making the grocery list, the to-do list. So I've always been a writer, but it was during the pandemic when everybody had plenty of time. I wasn't going anywhere. So I had retired. I retired in 2012 from Huntsville City Schools. So I had plenty of time to really start writing. And with the first book, Sassy Discovers the AME Church, it was like this divine proclamation that this book had to be written. I was looking for material for the new members class, especially for kids. Didn't find anything. There was only one book written for children about the AME Church that was published back in 1965, I believe. All the other books, there were plenty of books about the history of the AME Church, but most of those books were written by bishops and preachers and elders and people like that for other adults. But nothing was on the shelf actually for children. So during the pandemic, when I was at home, this divine intervention, this story came to me, and it was like I had to write it. I just had to get these words down on paper. So the story came very easily. I just had to write it. And I was writing. I'd get to a point where I'd stop in the story, take a nap, wake up. There was the next chapter to be written. And it was a culmination of a lot of things that happened as I was growing up in the AME Church. So it wasn't like it was things that I wasn't familiar with, because a lot of the things, a lot of the concepts, a lot of the activities, a lot of the things that Sassy did in the book were things that I had done as a kid growing up in the AME Church. So those things were very familiar to me. So I knew at the time that there were other kids that had, not kids anymore, but young people like myself who had experienced those same things. So it just came easily to get that story out. And once I finished the manuscript, it was like, okay, now, how am I going to find a publisher to publish this book? Because it's not just enough for me to have this written. I don't want to just keep it on a shelf. This has to get out, because this is what will lead to other generations knowing about the history of the AME Church. So I was looking through the websites for publishers, independent publishers, and I came across this one group that suggested I submit an inquiry. Well, okay, I had read all about that and trying to find an agent and all that kind of stuff. Who has time for that? So I submitted an inquiry. And one Saturday night, I was just sitting watching TV, and this person from Fresh Ink Group named Stephen Geeth called me out of the blue and is like, I'm kind of interested in publishing this book. Can you send me the first 3 chapters? And it was like, yeah, I can send them to you right now if you want them.
Hmm.
So that was the beginning of getting this book published. I had already visualized what I wanted the pictures to look like, visualized what I wanted Sassy to look like, and all of it came to be in this wonderful book, Sassy Discovers the AME Church. And I mean, it has just taken off. It has just taken off. Members from churches across the United States, the AME Church is in 20 Episcopal districts. It covers the United States and other countries as well. And people are wanting this book so that they can share the story of the AME Church with their children. And the children can have these books that they can read themselves. Other people, adults don't have to read these stories to the kids.
Important.
They can read it for themselves because I wanted them to be able to read the story for themselves. And I especially wanted to include in the book the history of what happened in Charleston.
Yeah.
Because so many times now, our history gets diluted, ignored, put aside. But with this, I wanted the kids to be able to remember this incident because it was a tragic incident that happened to an AME congregation. And this is part of American history. This happened as in an American city at a church in Charleston. So I wanted to especially include that in the book, and especially how as the incident unfolds with Sassy and her grandmother going to the church and everything, these are actual incidences that happened as we were trying to work through this grief process of what happened in Charleston. So the story in the book just resembles the actual reality of how we processed that grief. And this past, I think it was December, I had an opportunity to meet the son of one of the 9 victims of the Emmanuel AME Church massacre. He came to St. John here in Huntsville for the Rosa Parks celebration. And he was just a fine young man, had forgiven everyone, was working towards creating a loving relationship with everyone and in every community. So he's on a talking tour himself of making sure everybody understands what happened in Charleston and how to create a new narrative for people getting along in the community. So Sassy Discovers AME Church is a history book for kids written just for them so that they will remember this incident and know that, yes, it really did happen.
Yeah. Well, you were the perfect person to do that. I mean, you
Thank you.
inspired and had the idea, but you grew up as a little girl in the church. And like you said, you had the experiences, you had the questions and stuff. But then you became an educator. You know how to teach and you know kids and you know all of that kind of stuff. So that's the perfect storm for let's make a book. And then, of course, fresh ink, that's all you need, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a perfect storm. And it was a perfect storm because everything came together.
Yeah.
I didn't have to search for an agent, didn't have to search for a publisher. Who sits at home and a publisher calls them? Not many people.
Well,
so this
even
was
better than that,
intervention for sure.
I got to have lunch with you at Schlotsky's before.
That's right. That's right. We did.
Very few times do I ever meet our authors. I mean, ever. They're just, people out there wherever they are, and we work together and all that, but we don't sit down and have lunch. So that was pretty cool too.
Divine intervention.
Last year, Dr. Willis-Croft came to Alabama to visit, and Angie Birmingham came to Alabama to visit. So it's nice.
Mark Herndon lives up the road from you.
Yeah, and Mark Herndon lives up the road. So I've got the invitation to come by his house.
The guy that did the construction book.
Yeah. He's in Fayetteville, Tennessee. So they're around, and of course I've met Dr. Tony.
Yes.
Who did the Daddy Yo-Yo children's book, whatnot. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at the trailer for the first 2 books in the Sassy series. But first, we're going to play another trailer like Miratambo or something, because we need to knock out a couple of these commercials. Then we'll play the Sassy ones right after it and come back and talk about that.
Okay. Some of the people are trying to get in to make comments. I think they need some direction on how to get in and make comments.
How do they do that, Beam?
The comments depends on where they're watching from. Let's see, what are we looking at? We got 8 of them are on YouTube. There should be a comment section. I think you would have to, it's over on the right hand side. You would have to click. There should be. Let me see. I can't pull it up on my phone right now, but that's where you would do it on there. And on if you're over on Facebook, just in the comment section underneath the live stream, like you were commenting on a post, it'll pop up here. But there is a on YouTube, it is called live chat, I believe. So you go over there to the right hand side, and in the menu or the settings, there should be where you can find live chat.
Do you think they need to click the live tab?
Could be
Videos, playlists, whatever. And
yeah. I mean, but if they're watching it, click that and it should open up.
I'm just wondering if clicking the live might open that up. We're still learning this, people. So
yeah. So what I'll have to do is check that out, do a test live or something like that, and see how you open that up, so that then maybe write some kind of an explanation.
But if you're trying to comment and you can't, we appreciate the effort, and next week we'll have some better direction for you. So
okay, so well, first of all, before we get to the video, here's Abigail Hugueny. She found it in there. She found her way in. Great story of how Sassy was published.
Congratulations on the book listing, Abby. That's pretty good.
All right, so let's hit these videos. We're going to do Miratambo and then a Sassy.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
An illustrated fantasy for children, Miratambo Moonsong is a magical and uniquely told story about the clock of Miratambo. Struck by a bolt of lightning at 3:02, the clock of Miratambo has stopped ticking. What will the Zinkle-Quinkles of the town do? The kind Grand Baron who gave the clock to the town many blue moons ago sees what happens and sends a comet to the clock to save it from being silenced forever. When the moon is over Grand Shiloh Rise, will the clock come to life again with music and light and sound? Beautifully illustrated by author and artist Michael Filippello, Miratambo Moonsong is proudly published in case laminate hardcover, glossy softcover, and all ebook formats. Introduce your favorite kids to the Zinkle-Quinkles and Miratambo Moonsong.
Hi, I'm Mary Margaret Fanson. My grandmother, Big Mama, calls me Sassy. I've been a member of the African Methodist Episcopal Church all my life. I never knew why everyone was so proud to be AME. Then I met Gerald in Children's Church. He thinks he knows everything about being AME. I have to learn a lot more just to show him. B.A. Johnson has been writing a series of books about me, my brother, and my friends, with lots of colorful drawings. We also explore bullying, friendship, inclusion, death, grief, forgiveness, and more. Sassy discovers the AME Church is about me learning about our church and something terrible that happened in Charleston. The second book, Sassy uncovers Peter Allen's secret, is about discovering the story of our church's founder's family and one hero in particular. These and more Sassy books are published by Fresh Ink Group in laminated hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats available worldwide. Come on, join me and discover why I can say I'm proud to be AME.
All right, we got a couple of comments here.
Naturally. Cool.
Everyone.
Oh, Janice Tony. Okay.
And
Yeah, before we play your next commercial, we're going to play hers too. So
Okay, great.
Some more next week. All right.
All right.
Gail Hugueny. Very cool. So you want to expand a little bit on those two books, Barbara?
Oh, well, I just love both covers. I love the covers, especially with the front of my church on both books. That was great. That was great. That was your idea.
And who did your artwork?
Anik.
Anik.
Anik,
Staff
yes.
artist here at Fresh Ink.
Yes.
He enjoyed working on your stuff.
Yeah, he brought Sassy and her friends just to life. And we worked back and forth until we got it just right. But he did a great job of making Sassy come to life, she and her friends. So it was a good collaboration for sure. But I do love the covers.
So what's the Peter Allen one about?
Okay, Peter Allen is another part of our church history that very few people knew about, because our founder, Bishop Richard Allen, yes, he was married twice. He had kids by the second wife, but very little was ever written about these kids until we found some history from Mother Bethel AME Church in Philadelphia about Peter Allen. He was one of his 6 kids. He actually lived in Huntsville and married a woman, an enslaved woman here in Huntsville. But then shortly after he married, he went off to war to Texas, and there he was part of a massacre out there. And very few people, even very few AMEs, knew the history of Peter Allen. This was another opportunity to get that history out there for our congregation, for our members across the Episcopal districts, across the world, to know a little bit more about one of Bishop Richard Allen's children, Peter Allen. And I was so glad to share that information with everyone.
Oh, cool. All right. Now, your next book that published by Fresh Ink Group was Pandemonium in Puzzle Town. So we're going to play, Dr. Janice Toney. So we're going to play her book, Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament, and then we'll play Pandemonium and come back and ask you about that.
Okay.
All right. Pandemonium. We're doing Daddy Yo-Yo first?
Yo-Yo, yeah.
All right.
When Aaliyah and Kehlani go from having fun to tussling, Big Mama puts it to rest, as fighting and bullying are plain wrong. Later, Big Daddy tells the girls about the photo of a man on the mantle. His name is Daddy Yo-Yo, he says, telling the girls about his late grandfather, who watched out for all the children in his neighborhood. Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament is about a group of boys having fun until Evil Eye Bucket Smith tries bullying his smaller rival, young Chucky Fry. Daddy Yo-Yo won't stand for it. He knows that looking out for kids also means teaching about pride, self-worth, and caring for others. From Fresh Ink Group and author educator Janice D. Toney, the illustrated full-color chapter book, Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament is out now. Grab and share your copy in hardcover, softcover, or all ebook formats. Find out who the real winners are as we all learn the wisdom of Daddy Yo-Yo.
The stranger in Puzzletown has everyone talking. When he gets off the bus, his frumpy old suitcase simply says Kevin. He looks normal, but in a town where everybody has knobs, Kevin has no knobs. He's too different. Where can he live? Who would ever want to be his friend? Then a powerful force enters Puzzletown, and their world spins out of control. How will Kevin ever become a true citizen of Puzzletown when he just doesn't fit in? An illustrated chapter book for children, Puzzletown is by retired educator B.A. Johnson, author of Sassy Discovers the AME Church and Sassy Uncovers Peter Allen's Secret, available in case-limited hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Puzzletown teaches about inclusion in a fun and entertaining way. Published by Fresh Ink Group, Puzzletown has everybody talking.
All right.
Yeah. I enjoyed doing that book.
That's only recently been out. What inspired you to write that?
Oh, that was another one of those pandemic deals. At home doing nothing, but away from everyone. And one of my church members challenged me to start puzzling. And I thought, well, I've never been interested in puzzling, never put a puzzle together. It's too time consuming. You have to focus too hard on it, and it's just a lot of work. But then I started off small, got a small puzzle, put it together. Oh, yeah, this is easy. I know how to do it now. Watched a lot of YouTube videos on strategies to put puzzles together. And I just got hooked on doing puzzles. I just loved it. And this character came about because there was always this one piece, the connector, that brought all of the other pieces together. And you had to have it in order to put the pieces together. So I just thought about this character and thought about the movie Home Alone, and the kid named Kevin, and everybody was saying, Kevin! So Kevin became the main character in the story, and it just started flowing. Here he was coming to a different community. He had no knobs. Everybody else had knobs. He didn't fit in. He just stood out. But it all came together, and I found out that inspiration for stories is everywhere. So it could be a smell, it could be a memory, it could be a hobby. So inspiration just comes from everywhere, and that was how Kevin and Pandemonium in Puzzle Town was created. I enjoyed writing that story. It was a lot of fun. Fun.
And the thing about that story is that any kid can connect with him, can identify with Kevin, because at some point in time you just don't feel like you fit in.
Right.
So I mean that's part of growing up. It's part of life. I mean, even as adults, we sometimes feel like we don't fit in.
Yes. And that was the whole point of writing a story like that, so that kids could learn, you might be different, but there's a place for you. In whatever community that you found yourself in, there is a place for you. And it's a lesson for those that are living in that community too, that we need each other.
Exactly, because like with the fact that it's a puzzle, everybody's different, every piece is different, but you need each piece for the full picture.
Exactly.
Now
I really enjoyed that. And using AI to create some of the pictures. I started doing that because I asked my editor, how can we use AI to create these stories, these pictures? And he said, well, you need to try ChatGPT. And I thought, well, I don't have time to learn a whole new format to create pictures. This is what Anika is supposed to be doing. But I started, and it was like, okay, I can do this after all. But Anik did come in and tweak a lot of the pictures that I submitted, but I'm really, really proud of the cover of the book.
Cool.
Okay, so what's next for you? What do you have lined up next in terms of books?
Okay, well, I still have that third Sassy book that I have to work on. I'm getting to it. So that will be, the third book will be the last book in the Sassy series, and she will have grown up. She will be a young adult, still working in the church, but grown up now and taking on a leadership role in the church. So I still have to get to that one. But in the meantime, I have a manuscript coming out, possibly in April, entitled What to Do About Uncle Leroy. And that's about a veteran. I wanted it to come out in April so that it would be ready for Memorial Day in May. But it's about a veteran and a little boy, his nephew. And it's a real heartwarming story. It really is. And that one came to me, and I wrote it really quickly when I was going to visit my brother in North Carolina. He stays at near Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty now. And flying over, and seeing all the soldiers and everything, this story came to mind, and I wrote it in a week. So it'll be ready possibly in April. And then lastly will be a story that's coming out in December. I thought I could get it out this past December, but I just missed my deadline. So it'll come out next December. A Puppy for Christmas. That was inspirational too.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, we've used up an hour already. B.A. Johnson, Children's Illustrated book author. How do people find you, follow you, contact you, get to your website?
Well, I do have a website, bajohnsonsassy1.godaddysites.com. That's a little long, but it's just bajohnsonsassy1.godaddy. I think you'll be able to find it. It has lots of pictures on it of my favorite and most valued supporters, Instagram and Facebook.
Cool. All right.
Now, you see here on the screen, Janice Tony is asking, where can I pick up the puzzle?
Pick up the puzzle. I did have a puzzle made of the cover of Sassy Discovers AME Church. It was custom made. I have not totally had a contract with like XC or another company that will publish the puzzle for sale. They're not offering me a whole lot of money to sell my puzzle, so I'm holding out on them. So hopefully we can get that puzzle out so other people can have an opportunity to put it together.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it's like 500 pieces. It's good.
All right. Well, our guest today has been B.A. Johnson, author of illustrated chapter books. And we urge all of you who are liking our new format to spread the word. Yeah. Come back next week. Over the next 3 weeks, we've got Marcia Fox, who has completed her Dead Canyon trilogy with Pete Risingson, her co-author. And then the week after that, what do we got, Beem?
We got David Carroll, the NBC anchor out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we've had him on before. He's a lot of fun. This will be the first time we've seen him on the show. So, and he's used to being in front of cameras. So
yeah, we're just for fun. We're going to send him a cheat sheet of advice on how to appear on camera. All right, and Abigail has a picture of one of your puzzles in her office. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
And then after David Carroll, the next week, we're going to have Angie Birmingham, who wrote that great book about photography and also wrote the introduction to Braden Dexter Green's Trains of Alabama. So we've got 2 more trailers we're going to knock out here, Trains of Alabama, and then we're going to look at Angie Birmingham's Journey Through the Lens photography book. So we'll see everybody next week. Thanks, Barbara.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara. And take care, everybody. And again, get over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Help us build this.
Yeah, spread the word.
And where is that one? It's right here.
Teenager Braden Dexter Green has traveled North Alabama, collecting photos of his favorite trains and railroad settings. From the peculiar freight engines of Amtrak, to the beautiful heritage units of Norfolk Southern, to the new rebuilds of CSX locomotives, Braden chronicles both the commonplace and unusual trains crisscrossing the state, carrying passengers and freight in Trains of Alabama. He takes a close look at some notable short lines, such as the Alabama and Tennessee River Railroad out of Gadsden and the Huntsville and Madison County Railroad Authority, which locks down its engines in the downtown area of Huntsville. Backgrounds include Birmingham's famous Sloss furnaces and several notable rail yards, including the CSX Boyles Yard in Tarrant, the Norfolk Southern Norris Yard in Irondale, and the BNSF East Thomas Yard in Birmingham. Featuring an introduction by renowned wildlife photographer and author of Journey Through the Lens, Angie Birmingham, Trains of Alabama is proudly published by Fresh Ink Group worldwide in a case laminate hardcover edition with premium color printing, a glossy softcover edition with standard color, and all ebook editions. Order copies for yourself and fans of railroad photography It's the images that are the stars here. Those mighty trains that move the world, even as they inspire the passions of one teen who shares his favorites in Trains of Alabama.
In Journey Through the Lens, Creative Guide to Wildlife Photography, celebrated wildlife photographer Angie Birmingham introduces burgeoning photo takers to their photo equipment and helps them develop the techniques for stunning outdoor photography. From mastering exposure to optimizing focus and lighting, Angie shows how to find the right styles to tell visual stories and present compelling images. Learn landscape composition along with the best ways to shoot animals, birds, and flowers. Find out how skilled photographers capture all the details while manipulating backgrounds and mood. Order a digital copy in your favorite ebook format or collect a print edition in full-sized paperback or case laminate hardcover. Available worldwide from your favorite bookseller. From newcomers to professionals, everybody who loves taking wildlife pictures will thrill at how easy Angie Birmingham makes it for you to continue your own journey through the lens. You've been a part of Voice of Indie, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at freshinkgroup.com and be sure to hashtag Fresh Ink